As partners in the struggle, and we're talking to Mr. EJordan and Ms. CGreenlee3. And of course, Mr. Jordan, I think we promised that during the final segment we would give you an opportunity to talk about some of the real problems dealing with drugs and gangs within these communities that in many instances prompt all of this gun violence that we're talking about. Let's talk about it from that perspective.
That's basically it. You know, I think that here in Nashville that we're getting a population there of gangs here in Nashville, and the drug activity that leads with some of these young men who are affiliated with gangs, I figured it's causing a lot of the murders and gun violence that's going on. We must talk to the young black males. It's going to take myself, Ms. Clemmy, and yourself to say, hey, you know, go to these young men who are in the schools that may be troubled, to say, hey, you know what, put these guns down, put these dope packs down. You know, the only for sure life that you're gonna lead when you're on the streets is your death. Basically, that's what's gonna happen. That is what I see. You know, I work in the school system here in Nashville. Some of our children who are in the schools are affiliated with gangs. And I asked them, I said, will these gangs love you when you're incarcerated? Okay. Will these gangs love you or help out your moms when, you know, she may need some food on her table or what have you? You know, don't get caught up in this gang mentality, because what it's doing right now is taking a lot of lives. And when you have violence, you have drugs or what have you, you're going to have death. That's going to be the final analysis with all of this. And so I think we need to address this from, you know, the governor's standpoint, the mayor, chief police, who I think is doing a good job. You know, I know he's getting a lot of flack over his son and things of that nature, but he's doing a good job. He's doing everything that he can, but it's going to take us to make sure that we can crack down on what's going on in our community, you know, and that's where it is, you know. And when I come in or when we come in, it's just to say, hey, you know what, we're going to put that voice where the voice wasn't before. And when we speak, you're going to hear us. And that's what Partners in Struggle is all about.
Well, you know, you mentioned the fact of gangs in Nashville. Now, did not the police department say that there are no gangs and there's no gang activity or no gangs in Nashville? That these I mean, and I say that because it seems that you're working within the area and whatever, and you have done it, and you believe that we've got a lot of gangs in Nashville that are acting in concerted efforts to do what gangs do.
If they stated that, then I don't know, because I've seen several situations where they say it may have been a gang situation. So maybe they did, maybe they didn't. I know for a fact these are what my kids talk about, the Bloods and the Crips. You know, and that's not something that you learn on Sesame Street.
This is, you
know, the rags and the whole nine. I mean, you know, and this is what our children think that life is supposed to be about, a rag that represents, you know, blood of the Crips. And I'm looking at my life right now and saying, when I was growing up in the 70s, you know, I was able to go outside and play and have a good time. Now, if you go outside and play with today's society, knowing there may be a gang situation, that's another life taken with this stray bullet that they call. And it shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't be that way. My kids ought to be able to come outside. My son and my daughter ought to be out and be able to come outside and play without worrying about a stray bullet coming from somebody else. And then the media, excuse me, by saying, well, they were at the wrong place at the wrong time. That's a misprint. If my children in the confines of their home, they're at the right place. These young men who are out here taking the lives of our loved ones are in the wrong place. They shouldn't be there. They shouldn't be out there with guns and pulling the triggers and taking lives. And that's the bottom line.
Well, now quite a bit of this activity, and not quite a bit, because I think that there's gang violence and murders and et cetera all over the city. But the newspapers seem to have sort of singled out public housing as the place to focus, because a large number of these murders have been committed in public housing. But we're talking about less than, according to the less than 5,000 folks. Is that what we're talking about? We're talking because, well, now, in other words, 5,000 folks in a real sense are held hostage by these gangs and this kind of activity.
Violence is going to come everywhere. Not just who would think that something would transpire on the campus of Tennessee State University, Dr. Haney. We never thought that. But these were young men who was out to get somebody that night. You know, it could have been public housing, it could have been Bellevue, Brentwood. Violence is everywhere now. Don't single out public housing. This is just an easy target for these young men, because that's where they hang, that's where they do most of their drug transactions. It's easy, you know, it's easy. But at Tennessee State University, where Mr. Ping life was taken, that's unacceptable. So it's not just in public housing, and I don't want that to be the key. It's everywhere. Gun violence and murders is everywhere. It's to the point now, you know, we got to be almost looking behind our backs. You know, worry about am I next?
That's right.
You know, and it shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't be that way. So I don't want to say it's just in public housing. It's not.
And of course, I don't.